It's the last day of the African Utility Week conference and exhibition that brings together the largest group of power, energy and water professionals on the continent. Water experts are raising concerns over the decreased expenditure on water security research amid serious drought problems. Dr. Tlamulo Makelane from the Nelson Mandela University joins us now from our Pretoria studio to discuss this issue further. Good evening, Dr. Makelane, and thanks very much for your time. From what you've been able to research, what is responsible for the decrease in the amounts of money that are spent on water security research?
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me tonight on the studio. There are various of things that can implicate into decreasing of expenditure in water research. Looking at the fact that the expenditure doesn't decrease only in water research, it has decreased looking at the national research itself. So we might think about maybe there is a redirection of how we can put money into research, or looking at what kind of research we really want to do. So maybe we need a real focused type of research, because we know that research taking place already based on the study, and we know that South Africa is sponsoring research. However, we need more of that to be refocused. And what I can say is there's a roadmap right now about the water. And it's very interesting that the roadmap is looking from the 2015 to 2025. So I believe that in these 10 years that we are in right now, something will happen. So we are looking forward to see in the next 5 years, when we do another analysis, what we'll see in terms of the increase in expenditure and funding, as well as capacity building.
What are we in for if the trend, I should say, continues as it is doing now? In other words, if less and less money gets spent on research, what are the consequences for the country?
The consequences is broader, because if we look at water itself, it's a resource that we need across many things. And we are sharing water with agriculture and industry as well as household. So if we don't spend money on water research related field, it means we're going to go through challenges that we have seen already in the past 2 years, where we had drought. And it's just the highlight of what's happening in the country, because we already know that South Africa is a water scarce country and a physically water scarce country, meaning that the water that we have, we cannot be able to use it effectively for human consumption as well as ecosystem. So we are going for a bad situation if we don't change what's going on. But I like the fact that the government have already identified it, and there is something that is happening underground.
Well, identifying the problem is, of course, one thing, but doing something about the problem you've identified is quite another. Are you convinced, I mean, from the conversations you've had with those who are empowered, those who have been given both the responsibility and authority to do something about our water resources, do you get a sense as researchers that they are prepared and willing to put the money where their mouths are?
I am convinced that there is, and they are prepared to do so, because as we speak now, there is a white paper of Science and Technology, Department of Science and Technology, that looks at science and technology in terms of innovation. And if you look into it, they have showcased the impact of the white paper in terms of all the various technologies that we can come up with in solving the problem of water, including water and others. So what we need to do is collaboration, which is the most important thing, because we need to collaborate not only as researchers, but we have to start thinking about the cross collaboration, where government comes in place, work with business or private sector, as well as higher education, so that we can work together to answer the questions of, are we prepared, or are we ready to implement this? Because there's so much research happening in South Africa, but the problem is collaboration. So many people do almost similar things, but because we don't know who's doing what, that itself causes another problem.
What we've seen,
preparation is there. We need to start talking more about collaboration. Yes.
But I mean, we've seen many papers over the past 25 years across the board,
Yes.
and dare I say, most, if not all of them, have actually been very good. But we have also had spectacular failures in this country over the past 25 years. So what gives you that confidence that with this one, the best is indeed to come?
My belief is we have a lot of good papers, as we have stated. We now need to translate those papers into new technologies, because having papers in the shelf, and this has been spoken in many forums, that having papers in the shelf as scientists, it doesn't help. So now we need to start thinking about how to translate those papers into new technologies to solve the water issues, because to tell you the truth, the water issue in the country is very, very vital at this point in time.
Okay, that's where we're going to leave it. Dr. Makelane, thank you very much for your time. She is with the Nelson Mandela University.